how to create a neutral home without it being boring. The answer? Texture. I'm going to give you 5 easy to implement examples from my own home that you might be able to use in your home. Welcome back to the Ideal Home Show YouTube channel. My name's Lexie Carducci and I'm a property finder, I'm a developer, I'm a property content creator. I do a little bit of everything when it comes to property. I'm pretty much obsessed. And that's what we are here at the Ideal Home Show YouTube channel as well. We're all obsessed with property. That's why we're here. That's why we love it. So if you want more tips and tricks and advice and hacks on all things home, you can find it here on our YouTube channel. So make sure to hit that subscribe button. So what I love so much about interiors and when I'm developing homes and interior designing the spaces that we're creating is that trends change. And that is the beauty of creating a home for yourself. You can be quite subjective. You can pick something that suits you and the tone that you're trying to create for your own home. Trending right now are neutrals. People are calling it the new neutrals. And I guess people's biggest misconception when it comes to creating a neutral home is that it's really boring and there's no colour and there's not a lot going on. So we are here to basically stop that rumour and show you that actually all you really need to do when you are creating a neutral home is to add some elements of excitement. Now, when I'm talking about neutrals in this episode, we're not talking about old-fashioned neutrals. They've had their moment, they are done. So they are things like the white. Remember when we just used to use a white paint everywhere and be like, yeah, okay, we'll just stick our own personality and put our own stamp on it. No, the days of that are gone. It's very considered neutrals. So that's things like the earthy tones. We are looking at like a subtle tonal change throughout when you're thinking of paint colours and when you're thinking of your accessories. Yeah, you can still add colour. Different shades are within that neutral palette. But the neutral palette is, of course, also very natural. That's why things like our lovely faux olive tree behind me work really nicely in a neutral home. In fact, the backstory of my own home is that we really wanted to create a space that felt like we didn't live in the UK. We wanted to live in the Mediterranean somewhere. So we created like this kind of Mediterranean villa. And of course, that is all neutrals and natural materials. Some of those shades of colours that I was mentioning that kind of have like a soft or a warm undertone that we want to think about when we're using the neutral colour palette are colours like sand, like stone, like a concrete colour. You can incorporate slightly darker colours like a dusky green or a rust. And then there's sand and camel and like a cream and a biscuit colour. It's just thinking about the right shades of different colours. So I guess a big question is, why are we all so obsessed with neutrals right now? Well, I guess we could look at a few things that are happening in the world. One is that just the news that we're receiving at the minute, it's all quite dark, it's all quite dull. We kind of want to come home to a space that is a little bit warm, it's calming, it's spa-like. We maybe feel a lot more relaxed in a neutral coloured home compared to like what I'm dressed like right now in a bright pink or a crazy bold pattern and a bold print, where you just want to come home to something that is relaxing rather than that kind of over sensory overload of massively bright pops of colour. And again, a lot of people now are maybe working from home. So again, it's about creating that space that might as well be your office. And when you want to exit the office or when you're in that office environment, you want to feel in a relaxed, calming place. Neutrals are also absolutely timeless. So yes, when you're creating your own home, it is a little bit of a blank canvas, but we're not talking about like painting everything white as a blank canvas, but it's just a neutral starting point. So if you're renovating a home or if you're interior designing your home and you don't know where to begin, neutrals are always a great place to start. Like when we started this place, we've done a very neutral floor. We've got a paint colour that was the closest match that we could find that was for the walls and the ceiling. So we literally colour drenched the whole borders of the home in the same colour. And then to make the place and the space a little bit more interesting and add some vibes to it, that's where we've used texture, we've used some darker tones, we've used some wood, and they're all things that I'm going to talk about today as well. But going back to the point of it being quite timeless, it means that it ages a lot less quickly than if you were going to pounce on a trend of a very vibrant colour or a unique pattern. And it gives you the flexibility to add your own personal touch however you like. So let's talk about the first thing to think about to make your neutral space more interesting. And throughout this video, a lot of what we're going to be talking about is texture. So I've just sat down here on my bouclé sofa, and we feature a lot of bouclé throughout our home. Behind me, you can see our dining chairs. Behind them, you've got the bar stools that are all from the same Marilyn collection from Laura James' home. And then this sofa matches them perfectly. And we found this. In fact, this sofa took longer to find than our entire house because I just had a vision in my head and it was hard to find. Persevere, definitely. But yeah, we really wanted something that was stand out but also neutral. And I guess that's the whole point of this video, is that yes, we want to create that neutral aesthetic, but we still want these fun, exciting elements in our home. And you know, it doesn't have to be bouclé. Bouclé might not be everyone's cup of tea, but a lot of the things that we'll talk about today in this video are about different textures that you can use to liven up your neutral space. So bouclé is definitely one of them. Woods, linens, concrete effects, and then rattans and canes as well. So lots of different things to think about and lots of different options. And actually the beauty of all that list that I've just mentioned is that you don't have to just pick one. You mix and match and throw it all together for the perfect neutral mix. So back to the bouclé. Bouclé as a material is made from a looped yarn, so it creates this kind of like bobbly 3D effect, which even though we've got this in a very light colour, I've actually got a little dog. So thinking about paw prints, actually the other day I dropped an espresso martini all over this sofa. It's easier to clean than you think because there's lots of different layers to it, which means that actually you don't get this kind of big stain if you do drop something on the sofa, because it kind of bubbles in. And also there's a lot of different colours that are running through this. So you've got different neutral tones. Okay, the majority of it is cream, but there are a lot of different undertones running through it as well. So if you do drop something on it, like I have done, tried and tested, it actually was quite durable and washed down really well. When I was saying it's bobbly, I mean that it's like this kind of shearling or fleecy sort of texture, which means that it's super comfortable to sit on and nice and snuggly, which again brings us back to those kind of home comforts that we're looking for through texture. You obviously don't have to go full on and get a huge bouclé sofa. Like I mentioned, our dining chairs, my makeup table chair, my bar stools, they are all in a bouclé as well. So you can very much use this material throughout accessories throughout your home. It would make a really nice like feature or accent chair, like an armchair. It would make a lovely office chair. You could just have bouclé cushions somewhere. You could have it on a bed as like a bouclé headboard. And I've seen a lot of ottomans and storage boxes that are in a lovely bouclé material as well.
Looking for appliances you can trust to help you create more than just meals? With KitchenAid, you get more than just great tools. You get a brand that's been supporting home cooks and food lovers for over a century. So whether you're mixing dough, blending smoothies, or experimenting with new recipes, KitchenAid products are built for versatility and for lasting performance. Everything from the iconic stand mixer to blenders and food processors is designed to help you express your creativity and get consistent results every single time. And with new colours like Flutter for 2025, you can add a personal touch to your space while enjoying innovation you can count on. Click the link in the description. KitchenAid. Classic style, endless possibilities.
Next, we're going to step into my kitchen because did you know black is actually considered a neutral colour? I know, we do love to bring you a fun fact, because the technical definition of a neutral tone is a colour that doesn't dominate or clash. It kind of acts as like a background additional tone. You can pair black with almost any colour and it almost acts as like a bit of a balancing act or a contrast if you want to create a little bit of depth. So you don't have to go for a full-on dark kitchen like we've done. You can use black as accent features. So behind me here, you can see, for example, our windows. They are done in black, which is always a nice touch. I'm thinking of like metalwork throughout the house. If you were having any like stair balustrades, there's always quite a nice place to add a touch of black. Taps, we've actually gone for a copper tap. You know, when I mentioned rust earlier, another colour that fits into that neutral colour palette, but you could have black taps, black door handles. There's a lot of kind of accessory features where you can add in black. I mean, even up here, we've got like the little candle holder. We've got the noir incense sticks that are here. So there's lots of different ways that you can actually incorporate black into a neutral colour palette. Sticking with my kitchen, and I'm actually going to come over here and take a little seat. The next thing that I want to talk about when it comes to creating your neutral home is wood. So you can see in front of me here, we have had a wooden kitchen table. Actually, we had this made bespoke for us. It fits into our kitchen island and it's made in the same wood that we have used a lot throughout the house. So you can see behind me here, we've got our joinery that's built out of the same colour wood. Over here in the kitchen, some of our cabinets are built in wood. It's the perfect way to just add some contrast, particularly in kitchens, storage areas, and places like that. Wood is probably one of the best ways to add texture to your neutral space. That's because it's an organic material and it's got kind of these golden warm undertones as well. And of course, every bit of wood is unique and different. They've all got their own grains running through them. And it just is it kind of visually catches your eye. It's not a flat space, because when we talk about adding texture into our neutral space, it's all about that depth and almost creating something that's a little bit 3D rather than a flat matte surface. So with wood being a natural material, it creates that really calming connection with nature. And actually you'll notice that wood is used across a lot of different interior styles, whether your style is Japandi or Scandinavian, even rustic and coastal, they use a lot of wood throughout. Also, wood obviously comes in a lot of different colours. So in our kitchen, we had that more Havana oak colour, but you'll notice here on our stairs and in the wood floor upstairs, it's much more of like a honey tone. So the beauty of wood is that you can mix and match it throughout. You can layer it up in different tones, different colours, as long as they're not like directly against each other, but just using different colours throughout. You might want like a pale ash coloured floor upstairs. That fits beautifully with a neutral colour palette. So the options again are there. We've spoken about wood, and actually on my way into our guest bedroom, you can see three different tones of wood. We've got the floor, 4 different tones of wood. We've got the floor, we have got the door, we've got some side tables, and then this fluted wood panelling, which sits here behind the bed. This is what I want to talk to you about, because yes, we spoke about wood and different shades of wood and how it can be a great kind of aesthetically pleasing look for a neutral home. But what can be even more interesting is having fluted wood. So behind me, you can see that we've got a fluted wood bed head. And actually on that note, you know, when I was talking about having bouclé, just going off piste here, I digress. A bouclé headboard. We've got a bouclé bed in here as well. So I'm putting all those elements together right now. The bouclé, which is the texture, we've got different woods going on, and now we're adding in the fluted wood, both in the headboard of the bed, which look how much more interesting it makes this wall look behind me, instead of just having that in that dusky green tone, which by the way is another great neutral tone. If you do want to add a little bit more colour, it's still very subtle, it's still very understated, it's still very luxurious. We've also got the fluted wood in our doors. So these are very popular doors. You can see, I've seen so many houses online, on Pinterest, on Instagram, that have these same doors. They are called the Melbourne. They've actually got these doors in a lot of different styles, which are all named after places in Australia. So we've got the Melbourne, where we've got a flat bit of wood here, and then it goes into this fluted design. And you know, when we mentioned also about black and using black as a bit of an accent, we've got the black door handles. So our fixtures and fittings, we've done a lot of black. We've got black light switches that's echoed in the black handles of the bedside tables. So fluted wood traditionally is kind of like these grooves or ridges that are, which is how the wood is made, that creates quite a nice effect, because you get light that hits it at different angles. So it creates, again, that kind of 3D textured effect where it highlights the light, and you've got a lot of shadows that this will create as well. So it's always a gorgeous feature. It feels very luxurious and very bespoke as well. It highlights craftsmanship, which gives it that really kind of luxurious and elegant and expensive feel. Works really, really well on feature walls, kind of like we've done behind us. And actually, I was in an airport the other day, and they had a whole feature wall that was actually almost used as like a room divider, which is another great use of fluted wood. It was in the colour of our door. And actually what a lot of people do is, instead of having something made bespoke, like we've had these made bespoke, you can actually order panels from B&Q that are already made in fluted wood like this. They're probably about the same width as this door, and you just have the panels fixed. So it's so easy and not that expensive to buy and create a very cool feature. And there's loads of places that you can use fluted wood. I mean, like we just spoke about, you can have it across a whole wall, like a big feature wall. It makes a great kind of media station in a living room to have that built out of fluted wood. Then your furniture items like coffee tables, sideboards, nightstands made from a fluted wood. You could have kitchen cabinets. You know how downstairs I showed you that we've got the contrast with that Havana oak in our dark kitchen. You could have fluted wood cabinets that would look quite cool. You could use it in vanities in the bathroom. In fact, our ground floor bathroom, we've got a fluted wood vanity in there. And then joinery like bookshelves, media units and wardrobes. So loads of ways to incorporate fluted wood into your neutral home. And my final tip when it comes to texture in a neutral home is concrete. Now, I'm not talking about concrete that's used in industrial buildings like that grey colour. I'm talking about a much softer, more honey and more sand colour that fits within those shades of colours that we mentioned at the beginning of this video. So like wood, concrete or micro cement, which is actually what we've used on our floor that you can see here, is actually, it's got that same kind of surface texture where there's a little bit of movement. It's got unique patterns in it as well. So it really brings that contrast and the depth and the movement to a space. So I mentioned there that the material that we've got on our floors throughout our ground and first floor of our home is called micro cement. Now, again, we've gone for not that industrial grey. It's a very honey, it's a very sandy, soft, warmer tone that fits in with that Mediterranean villa vibe that I mentioned at the beginning of this video. Now, micro cement is quite a skilled craft. It's basically about 6 very thin layers. I think the whole thing ends up being about 3 millimeters thick that are layered on top of a leveled surface. So each of those levels then, or each of those layers then needs to cure before the next one is applied. So it's a very long, timely process that I think we did over about a week, which means, of course, it's quite costly as well at the moment. But the effect, we just absolutely loved it because it's seamless. You don't have all the joints. However, if you're thinking of creating a similar look outside here on our patio, you can see that we've used quite large format tiles. That could be another great idea if you didn't want to go full on with the micro cement option, but still create a very similar effect with a textured tile. We actually found a really good brand which is called Decton that we've actually used in our kitchen. So if you look at our kitchen island behind me here, that is also in a very kind of concrete-esque effect, and that's actually called Albarium 22 by Decton, which you can use on worktops. You can actually use that on floors, you can use it on walls as well, and the large formats of their tiles were huge. I think it was something like 240 by 320 or something, don't quote me on that, but they are huge tiles. And the same actually goes for micro cement. So you can actually use micro cement across floors, you can use it on walls, you can use it for kitchen islands. And we've actually had our ground floor bathroom, the whole of our ground floor bathroom is in a micro cement kind of top to toe, and then we've just added some textured tiles to just make a little bit of a contrast. And it really does give that spa aesthetic because it's seamless. Now, if you don't want to use that concrete look across a big space, you can certainly use a concrete effect when it comes to accessories. So you'll notice here we have got a concrete effect table, little coffee table, which is done in like a stone design. There's loads of these that are online as well. You can use it for accessories like behind us on our shelving that we've got built in. You could use those kind of ceramic concrete style vases. In the corner down here we've got like a concrete style pot. I think we literally just got this from, I think it was Dunelm. We picked up a couple of them, popped some plants in it, looking cute. But yeah, lights, pendants, bowls, even our planter over here, which actually is plastic, but is that kind of concrete effect, and it all matches together. And one final note, and on that note that I just mentioned, accessories play a huge part when you are creating that neutral space. So just adding in those slightly different color tones and textures, like on the floor here, we've got a jute rug. You could have some rattan in there. We've got a lovely like mohair throw that's here. All just adds to that kind of visual interest. So there you go. That is how to create a neutral home by adding texture. I hope you found a lot of that useful. And of course, if you've recently renovated or if you've put kind of different bits of texture and neutral colours into your home, we would love to know your top tips as well, in case it might help anyone out. And if you know someone that is about to start an interior design project, or they want to refurbish a room and they don't know where to start and they're thinking neutral is the way forward, because it's definitely trending, then make sure to send this video on to them, or maybe even tag them in the comments below. Thank you for watching this little video here on the Ideal Home Show YouTube channel. There's plenty more where that came from, whether you are looking for buying, selling, renting tips, if you are looking for interior design inspo, if you're looking for DIY hacks, we have got you covered. So make sure to hit that like button on this video, subscribe to look at the rest of our videos as well. There's loads that are up there, and there's loads more to come as well. And we're getting really excited here at the Ideal Home Show YouTube channel, because of course the Ideal Home Show Christmas is just around the corner. So we hope to see you there.